welcome back to my channel. It's my first video in a long time. If you are returning here, thank you so much, and if you're new, then welcome. I am Alex and I do makeup tutorials, and this look is super easy to achieve, super grungy with a cool bold copper lip. If you want to see how I created it, then just keep on watching. If you do like this video, don't forget to subscribe, click the thumbs up. All the products I use will be listed in the description box below, and let's get started. Hey guys, so we're gonna start by priming our eyes. I always like to do my eyeshadow first. That's just my preference. It's easier when you have any type of fallout to just wipe that away without ruining your foundation or anything like that. So I use just the LA Girl Pro Concealer. I use two different shades. I use the yellow corrector shade and also Porcelain, and this is just the perfect kind of like middle ground to create a really light base so that your colors show up better. And then after this, I'm going to go ahead and set it with some eyeshadow, and that's going to help prevent it's crazy. It's going to help prevent the shadows from creasing, and it's going to help the blendability of the shadows later down the road. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out. And then I'm just going to take this this color in my E.L.F contour palette. Any kind of shadow close to your natural lid shade will work to just set those in place. I like to thoroughly set the entire lid, the brow bone, the inner corner, almost to the bridge of my nose, just so everything's seamless. Cool, now that I have you guys zoomed in, we're gonna get started on the shadow. This is gonna be a super simple look. I'm pretty much, I think, just gonna use one shade, and I'm gonna use my Subculture palette, and I am taking the shade Mercury, which is this gray right here. And I'm just taking that on a fluffy brush. This is by Kala. It's super fluffy. I'm just gonna take that lightly because these shades are super pigmented. And I'm going to start to lightly buff that in the crease. Very lightly, you just want a wash color. Make sure everything is blended. That's the most important part of any eyeshadow look. Just sit there and keep going over it and blend. Shadow girl. Blend that shadow girl. And then we're going to take a different brush. This one, I believe it's by Coastal Scents. It's just kind of flat and a little bit domed. And I'm going to take that same exact shadow and just pack it all over the lid. I wanted this to be a really easy and minimal eye look using the Subculture, because with that palette and all the uproar, it can be a little bit intimidating to use. So I wanted just a shadow that can kind of stand on its own, create something really like kind of cool and smoky, but just very minimal, just using one shadow. Now the reason I blended out the crease first before just applying the shadow to the entire eye and then blending it, I thought this would just be a little bit easier of a technique to get that blended out crease without really worrying first about, you know, the rest of the shadow on the lid and getting a little bit overwhelmed, since it is kind of a dark color. But that's just one way to go about like doing a smoky eye, doing the crease instead of just plopping the whole shadow on the eye and trying to work from there. It can get a little overwhelming and intimidating, especially if you're not used to using kind of darker colors. So I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other eye, just pack that on the lid. And you always want to be looking from far away and seeing if there's something different you can do, or if they're not the same on each eye. So maybe if you feel it's a little darker than you want it to go, like in my case it is a little darker than I want it to go, I'm just going to take a separate clean fluffy blending brush and I'm going to go in with a shadow that's close to my skin tone like before. I'm just going to use Unity from the Prism, is that what this is called? Yeah, the Prism Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. And I'm just going to blend over the places that we already blended. This is going to give a lot softer, muted look, which is definitely what I wanted to go for with this bold lip that I'm about to apply in a little bit. And this also definitely helps the blending just kind of be seamless. You can see how that kind of like muted everything and took it down. We're gonna start on the face. Now we didn't have any really fallout with that Subculture shadow. Maybe just a little tiny bit here, a little tiny bit here, but nothing crazy at all. I'm gonna start by going in with my same two concealers that we primed the lids with. I'm taking Porcelain and I'm just doing a little bit in here to keep that area bright. A little down here. And then I'm going to, that looks so great, take my yellow corrector concealer and put that everywhere I would normally conceal. I like to put my concealer before I start doing my foundation. It just blends, everything just blends a little bit better in my opinion. A little on the chin. I'm not really going to worry about spot concealing too much because my foundation combo is pretty good, pretty full coverage. For my foundation, I'm going to, it looks so crazy. For my foundation, I'm going to mix my Fenty Beauty foundation in 290, this Pro Filt'r. And then I'm going to use my Holy Grail, the Covergirl Healthy Elixir, Vitalist Healthy Elixir in the shade Soft High. And I just go in. And lately I love applying with a sponge. It just really brings down the cakiness of any foundation. I'm going to blend out that concealer I have. Everything's gonna blend together. Blend together beautifully, like so. While I'm blending, that kind of creates a sharp line for the eyeshadow. That's not really what I'm going for today. I want everything like really blended. So I'm going to, after I set my concealer, take those same blending brushes that I used before and just re-blend the corners going to set this foundation, and for that I'm going to use a big fluffy powder brush like this, and I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution Luxury Baking Powder in Banana. This one is super affordable and just the perfect shade. It doesn't give flashback or anything like that. So I just am going to set, and I'm not really going to bake my under eye today because I feel like it's light enough as it is, because I applied that lighter concealer earlier, and I think it looks fine how it is. So I'm just going to set everything. I get really oily throughout the day, although this foundation combination is like absolutely divine and doesn't tend to really break up on me during the day. I just like to make sure I am fully set in place. And then, like I said, I'm gonna go back and just blend the corners of that shadow to be a little more blown out, a little more blended. Now I'm gonna move on to bronzer. I don't want anything super structured because the eyes are kind of a little bit dark, and then we're doing a bold lip. So I'm going to take this duo fiber brush by Coastal Scents, I believe. Yeah, Coastal Scents. I always make sure I have a soft grip on my brushes towards the end of the handle, because that'll give you a more, you know, a lighter hand when applying your product, and it helps the blending. I love this bronzer. And I like to take my bronzer pretty far in and almost act as a blush as well. I don't tend to use a lot of blush. My bronzer kind of helps me out there. And I always apply my bronzer a little higher than the hollows of my cheeks, just to give a more like lifted appearance to the face. Next, I'm just going to lightly contour a little bit, and I'm going to take this brush by Coastal Scents. I'm not really sure if it's a blush brush or what, but I love Coastal Scents' brushes. They don't shed, and they're really, really affordable. They're always having sales on their site, so we'll go ahead and I would recommend, if you're looking for some new brushes, to go with them as an alternative to some other brands that you might be looking at around the same price range. I've never had any problem with their brushes shedding, which is like a huge thing for me. And yeah, so I really love their stuff. I'm going to take this brush. It's just a domed kind of blush brush, I guess. And I'm going to take my E.L.F. contour palette from before, and then just lightly contour. Nothing crazy. Like I said, we don't want anything too structured. I just wanted a little bit more depth in those cheekbones, girl. And a little down the sides of my nose. I don't really nose contour. This is like the most I do. And underneath my bottom lip, just to make that lip look a little larger. And then what I do is I spray my face. For that, I'm going to use what's left of this little Mario Badescu, the facial spray, the pink one with aloe, herbs, and rose water. It's like very little left. And I just let that dry a little bit. Now for highlighter, I don't want anything super blinding. I would usually use my M.A.C highlighter, which is my tried and true, my holy grail. But I also really, really, really love this highlighter because it's not super crazy and it actually gives that wet look. This is the Hello Halo by Wet n Wild's Megaglow, and this is in the shade Goddess Glow. It's super, super beautiful. I just put a little bit on the back of my hand and take my blender. my blend and then just lightly press that into the skin. And it's not really giving like that kind of ashy stripe of glow. That the only thing you want to be careful is if you have applied all your powder products, try not to press it into the skin too aggressively, too much, because that will that can disturb all the powders and whatnot underneath. So I'm lightly just doing that, and it gives such a beautiful glow. I really love this product a lot. Now I'm gonna move on to eyebrows, and for my eyebrows, I just fill them in with my Brow Precise by Maybelline. I just lightly fill them in, nothing crazy. I messed up the other day and I shaved my brows, and big mistake, so now I have to fill them in a little more than I usually do. Just saying. I'm like that kid who, like, in that line's like, his sister's like, what did you do? And he's like, I shaved my eyebrows. And she's like, why? He's like, I don't know. And both of his eyebrows are shaved.
What did you do?
I shaved my eyebrows.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Okay guys, now that my lashes are on, I'm gonna finish up by just popping a little bit of what's left on my shadow brush from before on my lower lash line. And I'm not gonna add any additional product. I just want it a little grungy down there too for balance. But I'm going to finish off with the lips. I'm gonna line with just a brown lip liner, eyeliner, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to carefully line my lips. And then once we add the liquid lipstick, any corners that are kind of just a little like messed up, we can go ahead and fix. Today for a lip, I'm using the MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lip Color. That is a mouthful. In the color Foiled. It's this beautiful kind of like coppery shade, and I just thought it'd look really cool with the contrast of the gray eyeshadow. So I'm just going to, oh my god, that's gorgeous. And I'm going to fix up that lip a little bit, and I feel like I want to add gold, like just a little bit of gold. That's looking a little crazy, so I'm going to add another layer on top, just so that gold can peek through a little bit. So this is the final look, guys. I just cleaned up my lip line a little bit with concealer, and I tight lined with this really cool bronze pencil by NYX that matches like my lips perfectly, and a little bit of bottom mascara, and that is it. I hope you really liked this video. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload, which hopefully will be in the future a lot more. This is my first video back, and I'm really excited to kind of get the ball rolling and be a little more serious about YouTube and get some cool content up for you guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.